All right, hey everyone, thanks for chiming into the stream. This is Tide signing in. Um, I am going to be doing my very first uh, reaction video, and I'll be watching Shadowlands. I believe it's the first Shadowlands dev update, and actually, I was completely unaware that we would have this update last night my time. It was like around 1 in the morning my time. And I mean, I was anticipating this dev update. I know because they had built up so much hype and then they postponed it due to the Black Lives Matter protest that was going on. I think that was really nice of them to say that they did not want to retract from the voices that were being spoken. So now that things are sort of simmering down, I think it's great that they're finally going through with this. And I was actually asleep, and I got notifications through my Discord app on my mobile phone from guildies. Like, I heard notifications just popping up, and I was like, why are they going full blast? It was like 1 a.m. my time. I'm on the opposite side of the world from them, and then I realized, oh god, it's the live stream of Blizzard's Shadowlands dev update. So I chimed in, and I was watching a bit on my phone in bed, and as much as I love Blizzard, I joined. I'll admittedly be honest. I did join in on the trolls in the chat, and I was complaining about some stuff that I saw announced. I don't even remember what it was, but I mean, I'm still pretty excited to find out what we're getting. So just a bit about me, a little spiel about myself, so that you can understand where I'm coming from as I'm reacting to this dev update. I am a casual WoW raider. I don't have much time to delve into mythics. I mean, the interest is there, but I just can't devote enough time to be a hardcore or an elitist raider. The majority of my my entertainment that I get out of this game is just playing with the same group of people who are not elitist, not toxic, and it's raiding. I mean, yes, I love loot gear, but it's not at the very top of my priority list when it comes to enjoying this game. I love PvP, but I don't have time to master any classes in PvP. I like to enjoy it now and then. I really love exploration. That's what has drawn me to the MMORPG genre of games. This is coming from someone who's a long-time Legend of Zelda fanboy. And I just love the community that I've come across in this game, World of Warcraft. I think that's all I want to say. So just bear in mind, I'm a casual raider. I love exploring in the game. I mean, I prefer ground mounts over flying mounts, even though I already have flight unlocked in BFA. But keep that in mind as I am critiquing any of the stuff that displeases me, or if I'm super excited about stuff that they do announce. All right, let's go ahead and skip forward to the live stream. I did run into some tech issues. I'm hoping this works because I tried, I'd say 45 minutes earlier, and it was capturing the YouTube window, but it wasn't playing the actual video in YouTube, but it was playing my video from my webcam. So it seems like it's working right now. Without further ado, let's get into the live stream. I'm going to skip forward. I hope it's working. I see the chat paused. Uh-oh. Oh, it's working.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Shadowlands live stream. I'm John Haidt, executive producer for World of Warcraft. We have a lot to tell you about today, but first, I want to start by saying thank you to our amazing community. Like many of you, our regular routines have been turned upside down since we quarantined in March. We miss seeing our friends, the daily greetings and face-to-face conversations that we took for granted have been replaced by webcam meetings, little windows into each other's homes. When we meet this way, we often talk about how COVID-19 and world events are affecting our team and our families. And one of the hardest parts is dealing with a feeling of helplessness. Initially, we struggled with maintaining a sense of purpose. But ultimately, we draw inspiration from all of you. In a situation where it's easy to feel isolated, our purpose is to help bring people together.
Genuine as that.
WoW is truly a unique and magical place where people can maintain the bonds of friendship across physical distance by joining forces to take on epic challenges or just hang out and talk. In WoW, the journey together is the real reward. Getting an awesome loot upgrade, finally downing a mythic raid boss, defeating the enemy team in the last moments of a battle, all these experiences are memorable because we have each other to share them with. You've rekindled old friendships, made new ones, and gathered in Azeroth to honor fallen comrades. Seeing you all connect in this way has helped us carry on. WoW is also a place where you can just do your own thing, knowing that you share a common bond with millions of others who are exploring the world with you, and who'll be there anytime you want to join up for an adventure or two. Like many of you, we're eager to embark on a new adventure together. You have our commitment. We will be releasing Shadowlands this fall, even if we end up shipping it from our homes. So again, on behalf of the entire WoW team, thank you. While this stream is about Shadowlands, before I get to that, I want to remind everyone what's happening in WoW Classic. Later this month, on July 28th, WoW Classic will recreate one of the most talked about events in the game's history, the Encourage War. Players on every realm across the world will gather resources in a race to be the first to acquire the scepter of the shifting sands
I have are
and open the gates of Encourage, signaling an epic war with the denizens of this ancient and deadly temple.
Warrior, he's a human, level 20.
I'm looking forward to welcoming all of our new Scarab Lords.
Or 23.
Now, check this out.
Priest.
I just received our Shadowlands
I've since
Collector's
stopped playing
Edition.
because I have no one to play with. My guildies
You can see on the spine of the box, looks like all the Collector's Editions you've seen before, except we have these full color Covenant emblems on the side. So look great on the shelf with the other Collector's Editions. One of the really cool things about this box,
I miss buying the physical
cover.
copies of the game.
It's literally exploding with color. This recreates the moment when
I've had in physical
Sylvanas broke the sky above Icecrown Citadel.
Burning Crusade.
And you can see a cool reflective material.
WoW, Vanilla WoW.
Inside,
Burning Crusade, which
you
I
have
bought together
the Epic
at the
Edition,
same time. First getting
which
into WoW.
includes the Ensorcelled Everworm mount,
Cataclysm,
an Anima Wormling pet, a bunch of digital goodies, and 30 days of game time.
Final
You'll also
physical copy I ever
find,
purchased.
and this is something we know you've all asked for.
It was the first one when I started going
We did
digital.
one just for Shadowlands, but here's the art book.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful 4-color art on every page. I'm sorry, full color art on every page.
Full color art every page.
But it has all the concept art and a lot of great imagery.
I'd love
that are unique
to just
Shadowlands.
fully delve into the lore of WoW. I just don't have the time. I know I can always make time.
Celebrate Shadowlands at your desk or home office. We have Shadowlands mouse pad. Matches the background behind me.
It is the
And then
background
my favorite
behind you.
component for this is we actually have a collector's pin collection.
They're copying
this contains
Bellular.
a pin for each of the covenants.
I like
Kyrian,
Bellular's pins a lot
Venthyr,
more.
Necrolords, and
If I didn't
Nightfang.
live in Korea, I would be a Patreon debuter.
It also
and
includes the
gain access
soundtrack
to
for
his games.
Shadowlands, so you can listen to the music of the afterlife wherever you go. You'll be experiencing more of Shadowlands very soon. In fact, I'm pleased to announce World of Warcraft Shadowlands will officially enter beta next week. Beta participants will be able to experience the max level challenges
in on
in
that.
Maw, the most dangerous place in
If I can
all
get my
the
guildies
Shadowlands,
in as well,
and
we're gonna
one of the
start
most rewarding
raiding.
too. To
Lure
tell
the
you more
raids
about
prior
our
to the
upcoming
expansion
beta,
launch.
I'd like to introduce our game director, Ian Hazakostas. On behalf of the WoW team, thank you again for your support.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing your morning or evening with us, as the case may be. Super hyped to be able to share that collector's edition with everybody. One of my favorite features that John didn't get a chance to mention is that those pins actually have a self-destruct mechanism built in. So pick one carefully. If you want, the other three might vanish instantly. Let's talk a little bit about what is coming up in the beta ahead and Shadowlands in general. So first, I want to look back at the 3 months since we launched our alpha. Just about 3 months ago to this day, the alpha began, and we welcomed thousands of folks from around the world in to begin to share this great project that we've been working on really for the last couple of years. We've, at this point, journeyed through the 4 main zones of the Shadowlands, seen a glimpse of the Maw, experienced Covenant active abilities, and of course, seen Torghast. Our valiant alpha testers have completed over 800,000 quests in that time. Over 2,000 unique characters have finished Exile's Reach, our new player experience on the Alliance side, and ventured off to join the Alliance and go to Kultiris. Over 62,000 Torghast runs have been undertaken on our alpha servers. And alas, just over 11,000 of those ended in the clutches of the Tower Group, so be more careful next time. And crucially, over 64,000 in-game bug reports using our in-game reporting tool have been entered by alpha testers. Our QA team internally is busy poring over those. So far, I think they've cataloged something like 1,600 unique bugs that are being tracked in our system as a result of those reports, which will be fixed, of course, by the time Shadowlands comes out. And we know that's just the tip.
Let's try and hit the refresh button.
Or stuck trying to climb up a hill that looks like it should be climbable, and they're instantly going in, fixing those areas for the next build the next week. Every part of the game, our character artists who are looking at reactions to character customizations that are going out and hearing what people are most excited about, what they wish they could have, what options are missing, and doing what they can to add that. So I can't thank all of you enough, both the people who are in the alpha who have been testing there for us, but also those who are sharing their thoughts as part of the broader community conversation. The work that goes into Shadowlands is, as much yours as it is ours, truly. So now, turning the corner, looking ahead to what the next weeks will hold as we move into our beta. So what does beta mean? For us, beta certainly means the game's not done, but the framework is there and is complete. There shouldn't be missing pieces, giant missing ones where there's an entire feature that's not there, or there's a zone that's not yet playable. While those things are true, we continue to call it alpha. But we're getting very close to, pretty much the framework all being intact, being present. And so the level cap is going to go up to 60 when beta begins. It's also going to mean a first look at our endgame systems, at truly joining a covenant, at visiting your covenant sanctum, playing through that content, playing through our outdoor world max level content, our max level dungeons, our raids, experiencing soulbinds, and more. And there's a lot of work still to be done to flesh out the details of these systems, but everything should be there, and that's why we are now calling it beta. Now, perhaps most importantly for many of you, this also means a big new invite wave going out. That's going to start next week, and a process that will continue as we also want to, maintain a lot of concurrency on our test servers so we can get feedback on what zones feel like when there are dozens or hundreds of people in there competing over spawns, trying to do quests together. So make sure to go to our Battle.net account options, check your settings there, make sure that you're opted in to Warcraft Beta if that interests you, and be patient, don't get frustrated if you don't get an email from us right away. We will continue to do invites over the course of the summer. And as John said, of course, this kicks off next week. So I want to take the rest of our time together just to talk a bit about some of the things that you're going to be seeing as part of that endgame loop. Some of this is stuff that we haven't really had a chance to say much about since BlizzCon, and so I wanted to just share some more details and how the designs have evolved since we last discussed them. So first off, covenants. As we have said at great length, covenants are the centerpiece of Shadowlands, the Shadowlands expansion. This is where all roads lead. As you journey through
originally,
the
I wanted to go Kyrian for a lot of the
play through all 4 zones. You will meet the 4 controlling powers of the Shadowlands. You get a chance to borrow their powers, get a sense of their personalities, their ethos, their aesthetic. And at the end of that road, when you hit level 60, what awaits you is this fateful choice as you return to Oribos.
They're using the same
fully understanding
UI as they
the
did for
stakes that are affecting the Shadowlands and really all of existence,
and
choose whether you want to cast your lot with the Kyrian of Bastion, the Venthyr of Revendreth, the Necrolords of Maldraxxus, or the Night Fae of Ardenweald. And as you make that choice, what that means is unlocking an entire sphere of gameplay and content for you.
Wonder why it's
what
called
we've seen so far in Alpha really is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just these couple of active abilities that you get to experience while leveling up. We also made sure to make those testable as early as possible just to get mechanical feedback on them and what felt good and what didn't. But now it's time to see the rest of the iceberg and everything the covenants entail. So on the system side, first off, one of the most prominent immediate things you're going to experience is soulbinds. So soulbinding is this ancient ritual in the Shadowlands whereby 2 souls can link themselves to each other, sharing a portion of their identity, of their memories, and also of their powers.
She looks like
and so as you join a covenant,
Potter.
You'll be able to form soulbinds with certain key powerful souls that are affiliated with that covenant. These will be characters with vibrant, memorable personalities, many of which you will have met while leveling up and while questing through those zones. So here, I'm going to use the Venthyr and Revendreth for a lot of these upcoming examples because that's the first covenant we're going to have playable on an upcoming build.
Enemy
Nadia, the Mistblade, she was a renowned duelist in life, and that persona really shapes all of her abilities and the ways in which she's going to enhance your combat ability, grant you utility, and more. And so what each soulbind represents, as you can see in this slide, it's effectively a talent tree that you can traverse down as you gain power in your covenant.
Unless it does swap
you want
to
to go
other
down,
enemies.
Customize your gameplay, customize those abilities to suit your gameplay. Now you may be noticing the
you
empty
may only have one
slots
adversary
in
at a time.
this tree.
Maybe
That's where you're going to put these items that are called conduits. Now,
like
for
the
those
name
who
of
played
conduit.
Legion,
I
you
like
may
that
remember
language.
relics that you put into your artifact weapon. These are fairly similar. Conduits are going to be items that you can get from dungeon bosses, raids, PvP, a wide array of max level item sources. And unlike the soulbind traits, which are universal, where an arms warrior and a holy priest have the same traits if you have Nadia as your soulbind, conduits are spec specific.
That's a nice
They will
name.
do things like improve your ignore pain or your rejuvenation.
Thanks
or
for joining
whatever
me, by the
you
way.
choose to
Have some
slot it.
company.
There are different conduit types. Some are going to focus on increasing your throughput, like your damage and healing. Others are more about survival. Others are about utility. Again, this is letting you mix and match to choose
I always
the
like
gameplay and the
utility.
loadout that
In fact, I
really
would
best suits
prefer it
whatever you're
over,
looking
like,
to do on a given evening
DPS.
in World of Warcraft. Now, unlike Covenants, which themselves are a very weighty choice and not something that's lightly
perks.
switched, Soulbinds have a great deal of
Especially anything
flexibility,
dealing with
both in terms of
movement.
respecking them at a nominal
speed
cost,
abilities.
nothing escalating like how Azerite was in Battle for Azeroth, or just switching from one soulbind to another the same way you might respec or switch talents. Truly, the idea here is to have a range of options, and you pick what suits you for what you're looking to do
Give me
right
more
now.
mobility.
Now, as you join the Sanctum, as you join the Covenant, a key way in which you're going to progress within your Covenant is by gaining Renown. Renown will deepen your connection with your soulbinds. It will also
Sybil.
unlock a wide
I read
range
that
of
at first as
features,
Lost Syllable.
rewards, followers, which we'll talk
You will
about in a
gain
little
Lost
bit,
Sybil as an adventurer.
cosmetics,
Sounds like a
and more.
champion
You'll
or
earn
a follower
renown by,
that would,
on a
or
weekly basis,
bodyguard
going
that
out
would
into
follow
the
you
world,
around in
gathering
Warlords of
anima,
Draenor and
this
then
precious lifeblood of the Shadowlands
on the Legion.
every covenant
Warlords
starving
of Draenor, they were called
or by going into the maw
bodyguards,
and rescuing
in Legion,
tormented souls
followers,
that really rightfully belonged in your covenant, in your realm, but that were instead cast into the maw because of how the Machine of Death is broken.
Damn thing.
This isn't an open-ended grind. This isn't like artifact power. This is a more metered progression as you're working on behalf of your covenant.
To me.
And we're making sure that really from the start, the moment Shadowlands launches, we have robust catch-up systems built in, whether you are an alt, someone who's switched covenants, or someone who's just, late coming to the game. We don't want you to feel like you're behind or like you have some
so at the bottom of the tab,
calendar.
There's upgrades, and
but
then
renown is a primary way in which you will progress through.
Wouldn't you think that the renown milestones are
including
upgrades?
soulbinds, but also some stuff I'm about to talk about next. So each covenant has a sanctum. Now these are, there's loose inspiration is drawn here from things like the garrisons back in Warlords or the class halls
just like
in Legion.
Back in Legion,
each sanctum is the base of operations for that covenant, and this is a place where you're actually likely to begin and end most of your gameplay sessions once you're at max level. Each sanctum has a number of features to it that you can upgrade, but really restore to functionality. Because I think what we're going to learn as we venture through the Shadowlands is that this was a vibrant place that had its own ecosystem and politics and
I think it's strange that the different covenants or factions, whatever, in Shadowlands
a drought
are
plagues the land. Everything is withering, starved of anima, and chaos really is consuming the Shadowlands. And you, as a champion of your covenant, will be working to restore that order, to restore things to how they once were.
I would like WoW to go into another direction where we are no
getting
longer
anima,
the champion,
rescuing
the best
souls
of the
from the
best,
maw,
and yet everyone's got the same
restoring,
damn
activating these structures. One of them that every covenant has is a transportation network.
Vanilla WoW,
so within your own zone, if you're a member of the Night Fae and Ardenweald, there's a complex route network that lets you quickly access different parts of the zone. The Venthyr and Revendreth have a network of blood mirrors that can basically teleport you around. You want to make it so that, particularly if this is something you're investing in, you feel most at home, most comfortable in your zone if you're a member of that given covenant. Because that is where your power is greatest, that is where your covenant's influence is greatest.
Instead of being
another structure that
as
every covenant has is something called an
single
anima
damn
conductor.
player in the game has the same
So
damn
as I've
thing.
mentioned,
And
part
they're
of
all
the
being
plight of the
called-
Shadowlands
they're all being
is
called the
this
same damn
lack
thing.
of anima. Groves in Ardenweald that were once flourishing with magical energy are now desiccated, withered. Temples in Bastion lie dormant, deactivated. The constructs that once guarded them are inactive. And anima is the answer to all of those things. And so what you're doing as you bring it back to your covenant, to your sanctum, is pooling it in a reservoir, but you also have the ability to direct the flow of anima outward toward your zone, to regrow, reactivate these dormant parts of the space. Now, what that means in gameplay terms is you can send a stream of anima over to an area which will enable quests, treasures, events, outdoor world content in that area for you based on your choice on a given day. As you upgrade your anima conductor, you'll have more options that you can unlock, and as you engage in the system in general, you can progress towards permanently enabling and reactivating these spaces, both so that you have the content available for you, but also so that you see the world change around you to an extent. This grove that once was withered and dead in Ardenweald will once again be blooming and flourishing with anima energy thanks to your efforts. And
that blue
the
thing
events
at the
that were
top,
there will now
200.
always be up for you as a result of what you've done.
And it looks like an orb, like a blue orb.
The third system that every covenant has is a scouting map.
Sounds
this
like
is
a mission
an extension
table
of the mission system that we first introduced back in Warlords of Draenor, and we've kind of tinkered with that formula a couple times since then. And I think the basic loop there, we've moved away from its central importance that it had in Warlords, and I think we're not looking to go back to the Warlords era version of this being a source of the best raid gear in the game or what have you. But it's an outlet for some storytelling, some offline progression. So you have something waiting for you when you log in, and something that you can maybe check in on in shorter sessions. But we want to add more depth to the system than what we've had in the last couple of expansions.
We want to add more depth, more lore to a table, as
previously
opposed
really
to
is just it
finding
boils
it out
down to a coin flip. You're doing a simple
in the
matching
outside
game,
world.
matching counters to threats,
I've never been a fan of
and maybe you get up
tables.
to
I never touched
170%
the
success
table on the
chance
ship
to get
in
your bonus
Borealis.
reward, and hope you get lucky.
And now
really,
they're
if you
telling
did,
me
there's nothing
that
you could
they're
have
going to
done
put,
better,
they're going to inject
nothing you did right or
lore
wrong,
into a
and
yet
it's
another
you either succeed or
mission
fail.
table.
We
and
want to
call it,
re-envision
dub it
the
as Mission
foundations
Evolved.
of that system
Oh
to
man,
be
I'm so
something
negative right
that
now, but I'm
is a
sorry.
better analog to the
I'm
fantasy
not
that we're
buying all
trying to
this. I
convey.
don't like it.
The
They're
way a
continuing
mission
systems
works
that I'm
in
not happy
Warcraft
with.
isn't a coin flip. The way combat works in Warcraft, when you're sending these champions out into a dangerous area, isn't success or failure. It's nuanced gameplay with tanks and healers and melee DPS and range DPS as a party of combatants fight a bunch of enemies.
Look at the hair
and so
on this
this
one.
is an abstracted form of that type of
They
combat.
should have given her the
It
hood.
still will happen while you're offline, but there's a turn-based system here where you will
like a bow.
level up your soulbinds, recruit additional champions and adventurers to bolster their ranks, and send troops custom based on your covenant out to complete these missions and
looks like
obviously
it's combat
bring back some of
looks
that
like
sweet loot that you're looking
reads
for.
like a combat log.
There's a lot of depth to the system.
Let me go back.
We're going to have a fight
Look
a
at
bunch
this.
of enemies.
I'm going to pause. Look at that. It reads like a combat log. So this is like combat, but in a mission table. Stonehead meleeed Bony Skeleton for 22 damage. Stonehead cast Polite Greeting at Bony Skeleton for 6 physical damage. Stonehead cast blah blah blah, same thing. Kalatar shot Bony Skeleton for 44 damage. Kalatar applied Spirits of Rejuvenation to Theotar. These are nice names, by the way, but still, I'm not liking this. Oh, what is this? What is this? Why? Why are they putting a combat log in your mission table?
So this is an abstracted form of that type of combat. It still will happen while you're offline, but there's a turn-based system here where you will level up your soulbinds, recruit additional champions and adventurers to bolster their ranks, and send troops custom based on your covenant out to complete these missions and obviously bring back some of that sweet loot that you're looking for. There's a lot of...
Okay, look at that. I don't like sending out troops. This is why I do not touch those mission tables. I don't connect with it at all. I don't connect with them at all. I was really hoping they'd do away with these mission tables. They've had them in place ever since Warlords of Draenor. Admittedly, though, that they're not so... They don't play such a huge role as they did as they did back then. But what I don't like is they've continued the system. They've perpetuated it now. Went from Warlords of Draenor to Legion, and now Battle for Azeroth. We've not... and now Battle for Azeroth, and then to come again in Shadowlands, but now it's dubbed as Missions Evolved. Oh man, I don't like that. I've never been a fan of the mission tables. And he's saying this is turn-based, so it's happening while you're offline. So when I come back online, and I'm going to go to my mission table, which I won't, but do they really think I'm itching to come online and check my mission table to read this combat log that's turn-based that was going on while I was not there? Oh man, I'm already mad about that.
Depth to the system. We're going to have a early peek at it in our next couple of builds, and we'll continue to add more breadth to it over the course of the beta. Really curious to hear initial hands-on impressions, and as always with all of our features, we want to jump in and react quickly to whatever feedback we hear. As before, adventurers will also be supported in our mobile companion app, which will be updated for Shadowlands at the time of the expansion's release.
I'm really gonna bust that thing open while I'm at work.
Those 3 features that I just talked about are something that every covenant has access to.
To read a
they are
combat
universal.
log.
But each covenant also has a 4th structure that is unique depending on which covenant you've joined. Now, I've been using the Venthyr a lot for as these examples, so let's start with them.
I'll admit. They look,
if you are a Venthyr in Revendreth, you also have this 4th section of your sanctum known as the Ember Court. And what the Ember Court is, it's a hosting venue for pretty rad parties. The
rad
culture
parties. I heard this last night. I think this is when I
certainly
chimed
before
in
things
and I was
really went off
bashing
the rails
them.
in the events leading up to this expansion,
Just go to the live
was
chat
one
link. You probably
of
see me in there.
elegance, aristocracy, a lot of those tropes surrounding
I was
nobility.
bashing them. Let's see if
And
I show
part
up
of
in
what
the
that
live
means
chat.
is showing off your influence
I
by
remember this
hosting grand galas for the most
most
important individuals, not just from Revendreth, but
See
from
if I
across
show
the
up on there.
Shadowlands as a whole. And the Venthyr were notorious for this. Your ally, as you join the Venthyr, Prince Renethal, is looking to reestablish himself, to reestablish a new order, and showing off his growing influence and stature in that area. And you're going to help him out as a loyal member of his covenant. And the way that's going to play out is what's effectively, a self-contained minigame where you can go out, seek out guests, invite them to the party. Not maybe literally arrange catering, but figure out the different services that are going to make those guests happy. Play through the party in real time, maybe fending off party crashers that are trying to disrupt the festivities. And at the end of the day, maximizing the happiness of all your guests. And ideally, if they're happy, on the way out, they'll give you a token of their gratitude in the form of, well, sweet Warcraft loot.
My God.
And to be clear, this is not gloom and doom, life or death, saving the Shadowlands stuff. This is just a fun side activity that has a remarkable amount of depth to it, but is there to allow us to flesh out the culture, the personality, and the identities of these covenants, of these areas. You're not going to defeat the jailer by throwing the most badass party in the Shadowlands, but...
Side note, don't get me wrong, even though I'm super negative, I sound super negative right now, I still love Blizzard. I am not happy with a lot of the stuff that a lot of the systems that they're perpetuating. I still love them. I still love the game. I'll never leave the game. Never say never. But still, I love them. I'm not happy with this, though.
That is part of what being a Venthyr is. Now, if on the other hand, you join the Kyrian and Bastion, their unique feature is called the Path of Ascension.
From last night.
Now, the Path of Ascension is driven by this unique soul mirror, whereby you can actually inhabit the consciousness of one of your soulbinds.
Weird.
So you can play, let's say, as the aspirant Pelagos, with a unique set of abilities, and go through a series of trials, gladiatorial combat against the most powerful souls of the Shadowlands that you will also go out in your adventures across the world and recruit and capture and bring back to fight within the Path of Ascension.
Okay, to me, that just sounds like a scenario. I can't remember now, but I'm trying to remember where a scenario in which, those scenarios where they put you into a dungeon or a phased version of the outdoor world zone. I'm trying to think back to a time where they did that to us, where we played as another character. Yes, I remember back in Legion, they had us play as that prince from the Drowned Palace in Azuna, the prince who had worked so hard to impress or to please Azshara when she was a night elf, only to become banished by his own people, and at the cost of his own life. It seems what he's talking about right now is very much that. A scenario where you are put into the shoes of a semi-important lore figure. In this case, it seems like it's brand new lore figures that they've pulled out of thin air to become your new followers. Let's listen more.
This is a self-contained, combat-heavy system that has, a little bit of a boss rush feel to it. For those of you who are very old school, if you remember the Chartul event way back in Burning Crusade in Blades Edge Mountains, this is loosely inspired by that. It's the same kind of vibe. And this is available to members of the Kyrian. Now, if you joined the Necrolords of Maldraxxus, Necrolords are, and Maldraxxus is the source of the military might of the Shadowlands. This is a lot of the power that we saw manifested by the Scourge in the great floating acropolises like Naxxramas, and abominations like Patchwork and ghouls and geists. And the art of creating those creatures, the art of necromancy, is most closely affiliated with Maldraxxus. And so the structure you have as a member of the Necrolords is called the Abomination Factor. And this is a system whereby you can build
I think this is where I
fleshwork
started.
creatures, essentially, whether it's an abomination or a ghoul or a geist, to be the perfect housing for a soul that's in need of a physical form. Now, these souls have quirks and unique personalities and interests and abilities. So as you meet them, figure out what the right form for them is, and create a body for them to house, you can then adventure with them, unlocking various perks ranging from utility, extra gathering bonuses, to some combat perks.
Oh my god! Pause. I found myself right there. Nico Inks. I found myself, this is one of my YouTube channels, my non-WoW YouTube channel, name drop. Venthier side party activity sounds boar snores. That's what I said in the live chat. This was like 1:15 a.m. my time, or around that time. I'm so funny when it comes to lingo.
As always, this is available to Necrolords only. And finally, if you're a member of the Night Fae of Ardenweald, Ardenweald contains in its innermost reaches a sacred grove known as the Queen's Conservatory. This is where powerful souls effectively germinate, rest, are infused.
Okay, pause. This did appeal to me, though. Honestly, I'm not sure if this is tied to the whole mission table feature or aspect, but this did appeal to me, the Night Fae Queen's Conservatory. Even though I already made my decision that I would ally myself with the Kyrians, at least for my main, which is a protection slap. I'm starting to slur my words. Jeez, how much wine have I had? I already decided that I would, on my main, choose to ally myself with the Kyrians because their cosmetic appearances matched that of the lore and class fantasy associated with paladins, and that's why I decided to go Kyrian. But then a few minutes later he'll delve into or maybe he already mentioned it and I just skipped it, but he delved into the whole aspect of the Kyrians where their mission table or whatever was just revolving around more combat based stuff, and again that's happening offline, I think. And then whereas the Night Fae, the Queen's Conservatory, he said he likened it to the Half Hill Farm in Mists of Pandaria expansion, which I absolutely adored. I don't know why, but I loved the Half Hill Farm back in Mists of Pandaria. And I know that Blizzard would go on to perpetuate that feature into the following expansion, which was Warlords of Draenor. I'm pretty sure that came after Mists of Pandaria. In the new feature called Garrisons, I mean, garrisons were everything. That's what Warlords of Draenor has become. I mean, it's widely known as the Garrison expansion, where, and this is what I hated about it, was players spent the entire day in their garrison. Whereas in the Legion, the following expansion, players pretty much spent a lot of their time in their class halls, which is still an upgrade because at least you're seeing other players, whereas the Garrison, it's just you. I mean, you were the option to invite players, guildies, friends, whatever, to your Garrison was always there. But to be honest, I've played WoW so long, and I've had a guild for such a long time, ever since Lich King expansion, I have never really had the need to invite friends to my Garrison. Not even guildies, and I'm a lot closer to my guildies than I am to like my WoW friends. So at least it was an upgrade going into Legion, the class halls, because you can at least see other players both of your faction as well as the opposing faction. So as an Alliance human paladin, I was seeing paladins that were both Alliance and paladins that were across the aisle as Horde. And I did appreciate that, but I'm not sure what it's gonna be like in Shadowlands. You know, we have all these covenants, so it seems like it's going to be kind of like Legion, where you have the class halls where you can see opposing players, because obviously you can choose whatever covenant faction that you want to ally yourself with. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. But going back to what I felt about the Night Fae, the Queen's Conservatory, it did, when Ian mentioned that it was a lot like the Half Hail farm back in Mists in Pandaria, it did bring back some nostalgia to me, because the Half Hail farm was not imposed upon you. In fact, you could completely do without it. I mean, there were some things locked behind the Half Hill faction, but they're not game-changing things at all. So, and the whole notion of the Queen's Conservatory, he said, was like growing a garden of beasts or whatever, and nourishing them back to health. I don't know. I'm a Harry Potter fan. I'm not a major Harry Potter fan, but it to me it sounded a lot like the greenhouse in Harry Potter, manned by that one horticulture teacher, Hufflepuff. I don't know what her name was. I'm gonna get a lot of shit for this, but I know she was part of the Hufflepuff school. All right, let's get back to the live stream, the dev update.
Fused with the surrounding energies of the forest and are prepared for rebirth and return to the world of the living, because that is the essential function, one of the essential properties of Ardenweald. Now, the form that
rebirth, and back to the world of the living? I thought they said that you cannot go back to the world of the living once you've died. I mean, we can, as eternal travelers, or whatever we're going to be called, but am I missing something?
Takes for you as a player, this is effectively a soul garden, and it is inspired and has some parallels to the farm back in Mists of Pandaria.
I'm keeping an eye on live chat replay because I want to see if I show up again.
You are expanding them, upgrading them, and being able to, effectively fertilize them with different catalysts that are going to shape the consciousness of these souls as you nurture them back to life. So it's a bit more magical, but at the end of the day, its own branch of self-contained gameplay. And really, one of the core ideas behind this variety of features is to, reinforce the breadth of what Covenant choice is all about, and to make your experience slightly different from that of your peers as you journey through the Shadowlands, or when you're jumping on an alt and checking out a different Covenant, giving you a whole set of new fresh systems to explore and experience there. So we'll have a lot more to talk about with Sanctums. We'll have deep dive blogs on individual pieces of these over the course of the summer as beta progresses, but that's an overview of some of the new stuff that you're going to be seeing in Covenants as beta begins. Now, some other new content. We are going to have, coming up, our last dungeon that we have not yet revealed, a max level dungeon called the Theater of Pain. Theater of Pain is a dungeon in the center of Maldraxxus, and this is really, it's an epic arena, and the dungeon takes place during an important event. There's this...
Pause. Theater of Pain reminds me of Lich King expansion. There was a place, that weird troll, dark foresty place, called Amphitheater of Pain, I think? Let me look it up. Hold on. Amphitheater... Wowhead. I hope this is showing up. Let me see. Maybe not. It's probably not showing up for you guys. Oh yeah, Wowhead's showing up. Okay. Amphitheater of Pain. I don't know why I remember that. Amphitheater. Oops. Amphitheater of Anguish? The fudge is that? I swear, I remember an Amphitheater of Pain. It's just giving me quests with that name, but instead of pain, it's anguish. Sounds like pain to me. An achievement... The Ring of Blood? What does that sound... Okay, what is this? Complete the Ring of Blood, Amphitheater of Anguish, and Crucible of Carnage. Those all sound familiar. Oh yeah! Okay, there's one in Nagrand, Ring of Blood. Crucible of Carnage from Twilight Highlands. I remember that. That's from Cataclysm. I'm assuming Ring of Blood and Nagrand. Oh, I actually remember that. That's from BC. Amphitheater of Anguish is in Zuldrak. That's the zone. That's the troll, dark, foresty, withered zone. I remember. So it's called the Amphitheater of Anguish. I don't know why I thought it was Amphitheater of Pain. All right.
Regularly recurring.
Oh, by the way, I'm in the chat. I'm in the live chat right there. Mini games sound like microtransactions, is what I said, even though we don't have to pay for this. I just felt the need to say that. Oh, I'm such a negative Nancy.
Battle Royale, effectively, where all of the war houses of Maldraxxus send their greatest champions to fight it out, and to prove who is the strongest, who is the most powerful of all. Because that's a lot of what Maldraxxus is about. It's might makes right is the prevailing
I'm
ethos
so tired
there,
of being
and
told that I'm the
demonstrations
most powerful
of power,
I
and
don't
military
like that.
might,
It's
and
just
cunning.
so...
Now this has, there are particularly complex layers to what's going on right now, given the strife that's gripping the Shadowlands, that make these particular games perhaps the most important and the weightiest in recent memory. And you find yourself as an adventurer, as a party of adventurers, plunged into this conflict. And the way that's going to play out is as a very non-linear dungeon experience, as you choose which of the different factions you're going to engage with first, as you traverse the catacombs and the tunnels beneath the arena.
Hold on, pause. I'm in live chat again. Let me scroll up. Look how negative I sounded last night. Slightly different sounds like a cop-out for laziness. Because Ian said something about blah 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 blah, slightly different. That's funny.
Ultimately, culminating in a final encounter where we'll see if you or both the five of you can emerge victorious as the ultimate champions of the Theater of Pain.
Maybe.
And as with all things Maldraxxus, the prevailing decor here is super metal, so expect more of that.
Super metal, super not uninviting.
Next up, we are going to be revisiting the outdoor space of the Maw. So this is really where it all began for us in the Shadowlands. We just saw a couple of weeks ago in Alpha that initial venture into the Maw, the domain of the Jailer, as we went in from Icecrown Citadel, not knowing what was going to await us on the other side.
By the way, pause. I don't know why they showed the Jailer. Like, people were... I know a lot of the community were very unimpressed because of all the hype about the Jailer, and they finally showed his rig. Let me pull him up in Wowhead. And then they were just super unimpressed. I think he looks pretty cool, but I don't know. I wonder why they showed the Jailer before the expansion. He's supposed to be this huge figure that supposedly Sylvanas is working with, or maybe I'm wrong. Let's look. I want to show you what the Jailer looks like, if you have not already seen what he looks like. He looks pretty cool, but there was all that hype, and then people were pretty unamused. The Jailer. Wait, Jailer? No, it's not showing. How would I look it up? Let's do Google. The Jailer. Shadowlands. There he is. That's what he looks like. Let me make sure this is showing for you guys. Okay, it's showing. He looks like this. Alright. How do I just look at that? Oh, it pulled up Wowhead. I wonder why it wasn't showing when I typed it up in Wowhead. So that's him in the back. So he looks pretty impressive there. I like that. That he was just an enigma still, even though he's in that shot with Sylvanas, but he looks super giant there. But he's still very much an enigma. An enigma. I like that. You just see his blue eyes there. But look down here. Okay, look at this. I'll read it for you. At BlizzCon 2019, we saw a silhouette of the Jailer in a final shot of the Shadowlands features trailer. But his features remain shrouded in mystery. I like that. He's a central character in Shadowlands, as the expansion is dedicated to learning more about his motives and allies. Then, when data mining started for Shadowlands, we posted a model called Maw Jailer, which had a different silhouette to the image from BlizzCon. It was also unclear if this referred to the Jailer in Shadowlands, or simply a Jailer, as this model was used by the Jailer, a lesser Jailer. Okay, now it's getting all Inception on my ass. View the Wowhead model viewer. We'll look at that later. I just want to read for you guys more. Okay, I see they're talking about the Jailer here. I don't know why they're talking about Sylvanas here. Let's find out. Today in the Ian Hazakostas interview with Zoltan, it was confirmed that the data mined model was the intended model for the main jailer in Shadowlands. Back at BlizzCon, the model for the jailer wasn't finalized, so the team opted to display a silhouette instead. Okay, that makes sense, sparking much speculation as to his actual appearance. The model for the jailer shares similarities to both Sylvanas and the Arbiter. Who's that? Oh, the guy that takes in, or the woman that takes in, whatever, the entity who takes in, like, the dead people coming in from Azeroth, and I'm assuming all other places in the universe, because, you know, this Warcraft universe just spans everything. The entity who judges mortal souls in Oribos, which is an awesome damn name for a new capital city. Sylvanas and the jailer both wear gray armor with spikes, which makes sense as they have been working together for many years, and both the Arbiter and jailer have cavities in their chest. What? Okay, are they related somehow? Are they kin? The jailer's is empty, while the Arbiter's is full. I'm curious, did they ever give us a rig model drop for the Arbiter? I don't know why, but I'm thinking that the Arbiter is a woman. We may be learning more about the similarities between the members of the Pantheon of Death, those are the Titans, I believe, in Shadowlands as well, according to the interview. Do note that all models are not yet final until Shadowlands goes live, so minor tweaks can still be made, yada yada yada, but the jailer should not undergo a radical future appearance. Okay, that makes me think that he is a vital and integral part of the lore of Shadowlands if he's not going a radical future appearance. He can't be some random jailer mob. That's gotta be him. There's Sylvanas. I like her new armor. Her face looks changed. Look at her face. She looks Asian. That's not a bad thing, but she just looks Asian. Let me pull her up. Look, she looks Asian there. Whoa! Look at the eyes. I don't know why, but she looks Asian there to me. I'm Asian. That's... Okay, this is the Arbiter. That's why I thought the Arbiter was a woman. So there's the cavity that they're talking about. Her cavity seems a lot higher than the jailer's cavity. Hers is right up there underneath the... whatever it is. The throat. I was thinking about the technical term. I did take an anatomy class back when I had tried to become a radiologist. I had to take anatomy. Okay, let's get out of here. So... Alright, let's, moving on. The jailer's size has also changed several times over the alpha. Currently he's large, but not as large as N'Zoth. Okay, N'Zoth is giant. He's ginormous. We've also placed him next to the Titans, which is interesting, as Titans have two sizes, one that is much bigger than the jailer, which is used more frequently in-game, and one in which they are about the same size. As what? As the jailer? It's unclear. However, when placed to Sylvanas, okay, I did not misread that. When placed next to Sylvanas, he towers over her, replicating the visuals in the Shadowlands video. Okay, so here we have N'Zoth, final boss in Neolotha raid tier. Here we have the jailer. Who is that? Is that a fucking Titan? Who is that? I don't know who this is. Regular human, maybe. Human player. Then here we have the Pantheon of Titans. I'm not even gonna try and say their names because I know I'm gonna fucking fail. Oh, I feel so bad for not knowing their names. Oh my god, I don't remember their names. I know this guy's Agramar. Agamar? Agamar. Who's this guy? He looks badass. He looks like he reminds me of the to the anime fans out there. He reminds me of the younger brother who died. It's the anime Full Metal Alchemist. He reminds me of the younger brother who died, and then because of this is quite sad, because of a ritual that he and his older brother had tried to perform in order, because they were orphans, a ritual that they tried to perform in order to bring back their parents from from the dead, at least their mom. And the younger brother lost his life or something, and his soul was still there, so he took his soul and put it into a ginormous set of armor, which is really sad because his younger brother was really this cute little boy. Okay, that's Agamar. Who's this guy? Oh my god, he's the main guy. How can I not remember his name? This old ass dude. But there's the jailer, there's Agamar, there's the main ass Titan dude from the Pantheon of Titans. And there you have it, there's the jailer, and there's Sylvanas. He's giant. Look at his fucking toenails, they're sharp. Okay, his cavity is right up underneath his throat. I feel it's still not as quite as high as the Arbiter, the female-looking one. Look at this. I don't like this. They have this in the armor sets for Legion, and they carried it on... No, I'm sorry. I can remember as far back as Warlords of Draenor, the Paladin class armor set from Highmaul and Hellfire Citadel? Not Hellfire Citadel. Highmaul and Furnace? I forget what that one was, but they have those weird belts that have this stupid, I don't know what to call that. It's not a thong. It's not a male thong, but it's something to hide your private parts. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that. It's like you've got a banner in between your legs. And I've seen this as recent as Battle for Azeroth, I want to say. Even in Legion they had something like this, and now they're bringing it back into Shadowlands. Okay, so that's what he looked like. Here he looks like a fucking Voidwalker, or an Anubis, I don't know what you call them. Anubisath is one of them, the beetle people. My lore sucks. The beetle people who allied themselves with the Lich King. Anubisath was their leader. What are they called? The beetle people. Here he looks like them here. Look at that. What is he kneeling on the ground? Look at that. This looks like his thigh. That's a thick thigh. It looks like he's kneeling. Or not even kneeling. It looks like he's sitting, not even cross-legged. I don't know how to describe that, but he looks like he's definitely sitting and his knees are on the ground. How do you get this and transfer it to this? You can't even see his face behind that. He looks cool, don't get me wrong. I'm not a fan of this stupid banner between the legs. Alright, let's go back to the video.
Was a horrific array of forces that we can't hope to overcome. We just barely escaped from the jailer's clutches and made it out into Orbos. We could then explore the rest of the Shadowlands.
See if I find myself
now, as we hit level 60, as we are max level, with the power of a Covenant behind us, it's going to be time for us to return to this place where it all began, to go into the Maw, with the goal of investigating, exploring, trying to understand more of what the jailer is up to, and how we might thwart those plans. So fortunately, early on in our visits into the Maw, we're going to encounter probably the one singular being in all of the Maw who doesn't actively want to kill us, at least as far as we can tell. This mysterious broker known as Venari.
It's my new favorite.
Venari is kind of huddled away in a small cave in the outer reaches of the Maw, and you'll be able to work with her to investigate and explore, gather precious artifacts and resources from throughout the Maw that will maybe make it a little bit more of a hospitable place for you, give you more information, increase your ability to traverse the Maw, as well as improve your effectiveness in Torghast. The Maw is really inspired by a lot of our more sandboxy endgame content in the past. Most recently, probably Mechagon from the Rise of Ashara patch that we had in the middle of Battle for Azeroth. But those roots go all the way back to places like Timeless Isle. This isn't a place where you're going to bring up your map and see a bunch of world quests and clear direction. It's more about a loose structure, general broad objectives, and then lots and lots of discoverable gameplay. So we can't wait to have people jump in here, let us know what you think. And one of the really fun challenges in creating this experience was trying to create gameplay that reflects the fantasy of the space. you are not welcome here. This is not a place full of flight paths and inns to set your Hearthstone.
A Nubian,
and
says the
people who are welcoming you
Sorry
at
if
every
I butchered
turn.
your name.
Everything
Welcome
in
to
the
my
mob
chat. Thank you.
rejects your very existence and presence there.
I knew the
You do
guy's
not
name was
belong here.
Anubisa?
And everything
Shoot,
you do is under the watchful eye of the jailer.
I'm gonna pause really quick. He is the leader of them. He is a playable champion in Heroes of the Storm, that's for sure. And he's a freaking raid boss in Trial of the Crusader, I want to say. The dude's name was Anubarak. Oh my god, thank you, Anubarak. I was thinking Anubisith or whatever. That's like an Egyptian thing. Anubisith idol. That's an Egyptian mob in Uldum. Give me a second. I'm going to wipe my dog. She took a pee-pee. Give me just a second. Garnet, stay. Daddy's going to wipe you, huh? Stay. Garnet, stay. Good girl. Okay, sit. I said sit. Good girl. Here you go. Drink your water. But yeah, thanks for that. He is he's a badass tank champion in Heroes of the Storm, and I know he was a raid boss. Let's get back to the dev update.
If you raise a bit too much of a ruckus, you are engaging in you're making a bit too much noise, fighting too many big champions, calling the attention of the jailer upon you, you're going to need to beat a hasty retreat if you want to get out there and if you want to escape with your life and your hard-won earnings intact. So I'd like to share with you a quick video that's just a look at what the maw is like in motion.
Okay, I'm going to go full screen so I can see the video. Oh my god, pause. See that little thing over there? That looks like Probius from StarCraft. He's also in Heroes of the Storm because of StarCraft. This thing looks like Probius. I wonder if they used Probius's model. I'm gonna go back a bit. Right there, he's moving around. He looks like Probius. I just saw birds shooting right in starlight. Whoa! Very Death Knighty. What is that? Oh my god. I don't know why, but if I could name him, I'd name him Kellogg's. Like the tiger from Frosted Flakes. I don't know why. It's very brief.
All right, so yeah, it's like a super desolate place, but awe-inspiring in a terrible way. So those are some of the specifics that we've just covered. I also want to lay out a bit more of what lies ahead as beta unfolds across the summer.
Why in the world?
Later this month, we'll be kicking off formal raid testing of our
Castle
see the
Serenite. Was there Serenite in there?
10-boss raid.
Did you catch
the
that?
zone of Reventret.
Serenite's like a greenish blue color, right? I did not catch that. Why in the world would there be Serenite in the maw? I mean, we do have Bolvar. He's the head of the He's the is he the Lich King now? Well, he's the head of the Frozen Throne, but he's just going into the Shadowlands for the first time with us. I don't know why. Castle Nathria sounds like a freaking amazing first raid tier name.
Where you're ultimately going to face off against the Venthyr Lord
that's what I thought too. I did not
who is
catch
one of the
that.
major power players in the Shadowlands. It's just incredible gothic fantasy. Our encounter team and our dungeon art team had a blast making this. We can't wait to get people in there. As always, we'll have focused testing windows for normal, heroic, mythic, and raid finder difficulties. And as we get on in the beta, we'll be looking to specifically have some targeted invites for experienced raiders who can give us the feedback that we need to get the tuning right on difficulties like mythic.
Let me see. Was it this? Is that? This stuff, the tree. Oh my god, look at this. You see these diamonds on the ground? That reminds me of rupees from Legend of Zelda, especially Ocarina of Time. This place? I see a bunch of urns. Okay, so you did think that earlier part that I called the tree. That is the same color. Yeah, there it is again, the tree. This looks super Dead Knight-ish to me. There's Kellogg's. Why are there demons there? I just saw a demon there.
All right, so yeah, it's like a super desolate place, but awe-inspiring in a terrible way. So those are some of the specifics that we've just covered. I also want to lay out a bit more of what lies ahead as beta unfolds across the summer.
Please give me
Later this month, we'll be kicking off formal raid testing of our Castle Nathria raid. This is a 10-boss raid in the zone of Revendreth. We're ultimately going to face off against the Venthyr Lord Denathrius, who is one of the major power players in the Shadowlands. It's just incredible gothic fantasy. Our encounter team and our dungeon art team had a blast making this. We can't wait to get people in there. As always, we'll have focused testing windows for normal, heroic, mythic, and raid finder difficulties. And as we get on in the beta, we'll be looking to specifically have some targeted invites for experienced raiders who can give us the feedback that we need to get the tuning right on difficulties like mythic. Also later this month, we'll be kicking off Shadowlands Mythic Keystone Dungeons. We want to get these in your hands as quickly as possible. As soon as max level content is unlocked, we want to enable Mythic Keystones. We'll probably have a vendor that just sells Keystones directly just to facilitate testing. Early on, we just want to get initial feedback on how our dungeons are playing with the core Mythic Plus affixes, so we can hear quickly, where things like bolstering or necrotic or bursting are extra frustrating, and make sure that we're making any tweaks early on to make the experience that you have ultimately when Shadowlands comes out the best one possible. Later on in beta, we'll also be revealing for focus testing our first Shadowlands seasonal affix, as well as some potential other tweaks to the system. Legendary rune crafting is something we're really excited to let people get their hands on.
Sounds like a
this
rune
is something we
Death
talked
Knight,
about
if they
way
ever
back at
gave them a
BlizzCon,
spell
and this is the expression of
ranged
legendary items
spec.
in Shadowlands. So for those of you who remember Legion, and really throughout the history of World of Warcraft, some of the coolest loot we've ever made has had that orange color, orange border. When you see a legendary item, it's usually something that's going to transform your gameplay and unlock an all-new level of power within you. And one of the big points of feedback that we got that was frustrating in Legion was centered around how these items were obtained and the lack of control over obtaining them. There might be an item that was tremendously powerful, you'd see videos featuring it, you were really excited to get it, but there was nothing.
Okay. When it comes to legendaries, I actually was a fan of the randomness of them. I had no issue with that. My issue with the legendaries was that they played such an integral part in the raid scene where you felt like crap if you did not have the exact legendary that Icy Veins was telling you to equip, that the community was telling you to equip. I miss legendaries from back then. And in fact, one thing that I miss about loot drops from vanilla WoW was like just getting a purple epic drop was tantamount to getting an orange legendary piece of gear. I mean, you felt like, I don't know, you just felt like you were Superman or whatever whenever you got that, because you knew that you would be able to make a windfall fortune of gold. But of course, knowing me, I've always equipped it myself or held it in my bags just to be able to prove to everyone that, hey, I got this to drop for me. I miss that feeling. But my only complaint about the legendaries in Legion was that not so much that they were random, that they were RNG, it's just that you felt like crap if you did not have the X legendary for your spec, especially when it was a legendary that was specifically meant for another spec. But you benefited greatly from it. For example, the moon, the Lady in the Moon, I believe, was that legendary that from the designer's point of view, back in Legion, it was meant for the Boomkin spec, the balance spec of druids. But it actually benefited Guardian spec or tank spec druids far more greater than it did the balance druids. So, I mean, that's cool. I like that. But I just don't like that you feel like crap if you don't have X legendary for rating. I do love the RNG part of legendaries, but oh man, I don't know what they're gonna do. It seems like they're gonna make legendaries a crafting thing, very much a crafting profession part of the game. Let's find out what he has to say about it. I didn't hear any more of this.
You could do to earn it, you felt, unless you got lucky. Shadowlands is really aiming from the outset to address those concerns.
I'm gonna pause so I can catch up with chat. The last good legendaries were the capes from Raytheon back in Mists of Pandaria. Not gonna lie, I did love that. You know, I like that because compared to the capes that we have now in Battle for Azeroth, everyone has the same goddamn cape. Arsh Krimosh Rosh or whatever it's called. Same damn cape. Whether you're a healer, a tank, a DPS, everyone has the same thing. I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. Going back to what you said, the best legendaries, the last good legendaries, were the capes from Mists of Pandaria. I couldn't agree more. You had the tank one, you had the DPS one, you had the healing one. My two personal favorites were the tank and healing one, of course, because I've always ever mained a tank or a healer. And those two, in my opinion, looked far better than the DPS one. I loved the tank one, the Nizwao one, or whatever, I'm butchering the name, pronunciation. And then the healer one was the Kindness of Chi-Ji. Come on now. You're a healer, and the name of your legendary cloak is Kindness of Chi-Ji. Or Chi-Ji, sorry. That's the name of the crane, the god, whatever he is. He's not a god, I don't know what he is, but he's super cool. Kindness of Chi-Ji. Come on, you're a healer. And you have this legendary cloak called the Kindness of Chi-Ji. I'm up for that. I love that. Of course, you're a healer. You represent the Kindness of Chi-Ji, which is that crane that runs around, if you're spec'd into that talent as a Mistweaver monk, healing everyone in the raid, which is one of my favorite talents amongst all the classes, not just monk. But man, Kindness of Chi-Ji, and then the other one for the tanks I specifically remember was Fortitude of Nizwao, that Black Ox. Perfect. So worthy of a tank and so worthy of a healer. So thank you for bringing that up, because yes, I completely agree, and this is bringing back nostalgia. I mean, who am I to say nostalgia for Mists of Pandaria? I loved Mists of Pandaria, and yes, I will bring up the name or the notion of nostalgia, because I did love that expansion. The beautiful landscapes of that expansion, the music was just ephemeral. I loved that expansion. I will have to say my favorite was Cataclysm, not because of anything in particular, only because of the fact that I actually grew as a raid leader and as a guild leader in that expansion. But thank you so much for bringing up the cloaks in Mists of Pandaria. I would not have remembered it in my drunken stupor. I'm not drunk, I'm just kidding. Have you noticed how Ardrachmas looks like the Infinite Time Reaver? Wait a minute. Is the Infinite Time Reaver the mount from Time Walking? Because I could swear the color hues on that one is blue and gray or silver. Let me look it up. That's what I'm remembering from Infinite Time Reaver. It's a mount I don't have, as you can tell. It's a mount I want. Let's see. Wowhead, our trusted friend. Oh, I already had it open. Okay, let's see here. I gotta play some music when I'm not in the video. Hold on, let me bring up SoundCloud. Forgive me. I do love my lo-fi, especially when I'm drinking wine. Actually, I'm gonna play some K-pop. Or K-hip-hop. Not K-pop, sorry, K-hip-hop. What is this one? I like sad-sounding hip-hop or lo-fi. Alright, let's look up the Infinite Time Reaver. Reigns of the Infinite Time Reaver. Yes, it is a mount. Okay, let's see if you are right. You're saying the Cloak of Astrakramas looks like the Infinite Time Reaver. Are you sure? Because this is him right here. Screenshots. Let me pull up the best photo. Oh my god, he looks like that boss from, for a second I thought he looked like that time dragon boss from Cataclysm. I don't remember, but you're fighting him in a desert, sandy area, and you can rewind like 3 times. Turn the music down a bit. Okay, Infinite Time Reaver, and let me pull up the... I'm surprised you freaking spelled the name of that cloak correctly. I'm gonna pull it up, I'm gonna trust you on that, because it does look correct. Okay, we'll pull up Wowhead again. Astra. Apostrophe Kamas. There we go. Astrakmas, Shroud of Resolve. Why couldn't they just call it the Shroud of Resolve? Alright, let's see. You think this cloak looks... Oh my god, you're right. Holy crap. Oh, you know what? You have a higher cloak than me. I'm only at rank 9 because I have 0 interest in grinding assaults. Let's go to the screenshots. I didn't know the cloak changes appearance, or maybe it's because I have it transmogrified. I don't remember it being this color. But you are freaking right, man. Or gal. It looks like the freaking Infinite Time Reaver. Let me pull it side by side. Look at that! What an observation! Holy crap, you are right. Let me see, is there another better photo of this dragon? He looks cool there. I'm surprised there aren't enough screenshots submitted. Where's the best photo? I think this is the best photo. Let's check this one out. Oh my god, you're right. Let me pull that one up again. Look at the color. Oh, did I put that? Okay, here. Look at the color hues on that. You are right. It's like a onyx black and then some shimmery bluish hues. You know what? I don't know why, but looking at the cloak right now, it reminds me of a raid boss fight from Legion, specifically, it's the one with the, it's the Palace, Eternal Night? Palace of Eternal Night? It's the one with that Nightborn leader, but it reminds me of Star Augur Atreus raid boss fight. The colors on this cloak reminds me of his room where you fight him in, the observatory or whatever it's called. Because you can see at like in the final phase of the fight, like the walls like start revolving and then they open up and then you can see the universe around you. It's such a beautiful fight and it reminds me of that. The Star Augur Atreus fight. Oh my god. I did not even know that the cloak looked like this. Or maybe, I'm not even sure if the cloak, as you upgrade it, it goes through 3 different tiers of appearance or whatever, because I swear I do not remember getting my cloak and not seeing that. And then again, I'm only at rank 9, only because I heavily dislike grinding assaults. I love the horrific visions, don't get me wrong, I always tell everyone I love it, but I do explain to them that my cloak rank is so low because I just have such huge disdain for grinding assaults. I don't like grinding currency just to be able to do the horrific visions, which I'm actually happy about when Ian Hazakassis mentioned in this dev update that they are not going to gate the Tower of Torghast, or whatever it's called, behind currency, so I'm happy about that. Thank you for bringing this up, because that's actually a beautiful cloak. I'm gonna have to check it out in game next time I sign in. We're gonna go back to the dev update.
And to give you a ton of agency and control over how you seek out and earn your legendaries. So early on, as you venture into Torghast, Tower of the Damned, you're going to encounter this mysterious runesmith.
I haven't done any of the quests, but I have guildies with it. Also, Murazond was one of the best dungeon bosses Blizzard has ever put in the game, into the game. Murazond, I'm assuming that's a dragon, just because of the elements in the name. I love how the dragons in Blizzard's universe have similar names, like Alexstrasza, Chorusstrasza, who else? Nosdormu. Come on, give me some other dragon names. Murazond definitely sounds like a dragon name. I'm seriously trying to think of other dragon names. Alexstrasza, Chorusstrasza, Nosdormu, Calicos, Xenagos, Malicos. I think that's my particular favorite, is the Gos. C-G-O-S. Gos, Calicos, Malicos. He was an alternate universe version of Nosdormu. Oh my god, you're right, because they did wordplay with the name. They switched out the letters. They swapped the letters a bit. In the End Time. The End Time dungeon, okay. Oh my god, that's the dragon I was talking about earlier, where you're fighting him in the desert area with the sands, and then he rewinds like 3 times, and you always had to have one of the DPS go far out and click on the hourglass to have him rewind the fight. Is that who you're talking about? End Time, I remember that dungeon. I specifically remember the fight against... I love how you're fighting against very integral parts or figureheads of the lore, like, oh my god. The Night Elf. The general of the Night Elf army. I forget her name. Oh my god, she was in Legion, and now she's in BFA, and she's splintered herself from the Alliance. She has the sexy Indian woman accent now. They've changed her accent, her voice actor. Tyrande, yes, Tyrande! Do you remember the Tyrande fight in End Time, where she's sitting in that beautiful, serene moonlight pool? Like a black pool of moonlight? And then you have to fight her, and she shoots down these random slivers of moonlight that you have to avoid. Yes, Tyrande, that's her. I also love the Sylvanas fight, where you and your party have to fight through the wall, the circular wall of ghouls that are closing in upon you and your party. I remember being in a lot of pugs, and they never get it, so we would wipe to that. It's not a brand new freaking dungeon mechanic. I've seen it at least 2 or 3 times before, but I just liked it more in that fight because you're actually fighting Sylvanas, and then you were fighting the figureheads of both the Horde and the Alliance factions. So the Horde, who's the other Horde leader that you fight? The Tauren, the son of what's his name? Something Bane, something Hoof, Banehoof. Cairn. I forget his name. Oh well.
Who's chained up, shackled in a Hannibal Lecter-style cell in the bowels of Torghast. And what you'll learn pretty early on is that this runesmith wields some of the same power, that power of domination that was once used to craft incredible artifacts like Frostmourne or the now shattered helm of the Lich King. And by recovering essence from Torghast, as well as scraps of this ancient runic knowledge that you can bring back to the smith and awaken locked away memories, the runesmith will be able to make...
By the way, earlier I pronounced your name as Pogang because I've been living in and teaching English in South Korea for the past 6 years, so a lot of their, not so much dialect, but a lot of their pronunciation has been inculcated into my own person. So I pronounced your name at first as Pogang. It's probably Pogang, I'm sorry.
For you to imbue an item with power that you get from a tailor, blacksmith, leatherworker, depending on your armor type, the runesmith can make a legendary of your choice for you.
Wait a minute, is runesmithing a new profession? Let me rewind. I probably missed that. I think every profession can do runesmithing. It's not like it's a whole brand new separate profession. I'm just gonna rewind. Forgive me.
Feedback on how our dungeons are playing with the core Mythic Plus affixes, so we can hear quickly, where things like bolstering or necrotic or bursting are extra frustrating, and make sure that we're making any tweaks early on to improve the experience that you have ultimately when Shadowlands comes out.
Not so much leveled with
later on in beta, we'll also be revealing for focus testing our first Shadowlands seasonal affix, as well as some potential other tweaks to the system. Legendary runecrafting is something we're really excited to let people get their hands on.
Okay, pause. My name is a play on the Furious 5 from the Kung Fu Panda franchise. Oh my god. You know what? I made a YouTube video that was so long, I split it up into 2 parts of Kung Fu Panda 3. I think that's the latest one in the series. That was just... Oh my god. You reminded me of that. Runesmithing is just a rewind of the stupid thing in the DK leveling zone. Right, I mean, we still have it now, right? Like, DKs, you can still, it's called rune forging, right? Unless I'm missing something. Was there something back then called runesmithing? Because now I know for sure it's rune forging, because I have a blood DK alt. My name is a play on the Furious 5 from the Kung Fu Panda franchise. Who is Pogang? Oh, sorry, okay, Po. Chen Po, the panda, the main guy, the head honcho. Pogang, I get it. Oh my god, the Furious 5 is his gang. I'm sorry, I'm not that much of an intellectual, but I just got that now. By the way, Kung Fu Panda, I mean, it's such a hilarious sounding title for like a kid's film, but I mean, they've got beautiful art in that film. It harkens me back to Mists of Pandaria. Beautiful art, beautiful music, just the landscapes. Oh my god, the cinematic trailer for Mists of Pandaria, I cried. I cried. When I'm not gonna lie, I cried when you saw that Pandaren, and he had the straw or whatever that was, the grass in his mouth, and he was just so nonchalant. You knew how freaking strong he was when he was about to be up against the human and the orc. And he just looked like such a badass with his straw hat like broken, and it was broken on account of him getting into a scuffle with the orc and the human fighting together against him, and that's how he got that hole. I still remember vividly. He got that hole in his straw hat, and then he was super unfazed throughout his scuffle with the human and the orc, and then when he got that hole in his straw hat, that's when he was like, okay, things about to get serious now. And then with that badass nonchalant demeanor about him, he starts talking about, you know, do not ask. I don't know. I'm butchering it. I'm sorry. Do not ask who you fight for, or I don't know, or why we fight. I don't know. I'm butchering it. Fuck, I'm gonna have to watch the cinematic now. But then in the end, his last line was like, "What is worth fighting for?" And then you get a sort of a mic drop, and it pans into the peaceful Pandaren farming village down below. And my God, that I just cried. It was amazing. I'm being really emotional right now, but even though I don't have a single Pandaren character, but I could mesh so well with that philosophy. Elune and Anshi. Also the first one, also the first ones, as they're called in Oribos, are confirmed. 100%. Elune and Anshi. Why does that sound familiar? Anshi, is that something having to do with the Tauren's spiritual way of life? Anshi. And then Elune, of course, is the Night Elves' druidic way of life. Because the Night Elves and the Tauren were very much similar. Whereas and this is what I always loved, the Night Elves worshipped a lunar goddess, whereas the Tauren worshipped a solar, like a sun goddess. Anshi, I want to say. I could be wrong. Let me pull up that cinematic for Mists of Pandaria, because goddamn, you got me on a nostalgia trip. Sorry for the language. I'm pretty sure I labeled my stream as mature. Maybe not. I do apologize. Here we go. Oh my God. Nostalgia lane. Here we go. Anshi is the right eye of the Earth Mother, yes. Elune is
ask why
Musha
we
is the left.
fight
I never heard Musha.
Is to ask why the leaves fall. It is in their nature. Perhaps there is a better question.
I'm sorry, but I love the way the human looks in the cinematics. Props to Blizzard for finally making the humans look amazing compared to their orc counterparts. Thank you, Blizzard. I love the look of the human here. I wish they gave us this human rig instead of the cool Tyran human males. They look comical, but this human here, he still has that comic looking facial structure. And they still make him silly compared to the orc, but I much rather prefer this human male compared to the cool Tyran male. Damn! Who is that? Chen? That's Chen. Chen Stormsnout? Chen Stormstout. Chen Stormstout was amazing. Yes, he was. Okay, hold on. See, I have nothing against like fatness or whatever, but you take the Kul Tiran human male and compare him to Chen Stormstout. They're both equally fat, but I don't know how they pull it off, but Chen Stormstout looks so much more like a badass compared to the Kul Tiran human males. I mean, to be fair, maybe it's because they have not yet featured a Kultiran human male in a graphics-intensive cinematic like this one, but I mean, even just looking in the game, I feel like Chen Stormstout is such a badass. Of course, he's in a loincloth. Look at that, he's got a little twig with what, a single leaf on it. I don't like how they made the human male look like this stupid. Okay, here's the famous quote.
Why do we fight? To protect home and family. To preserve balance and bring harmony. For my kind, the true question is, what is worth fighting for?
This is why, even though I'm such a negative Nancy, I still love Blizzard, even if they have Activision at their throats. Not, why do you fight? Or why do we fight? The question is, what is worth fighting for? I love that line. He probably looks cooler because of the Tai Chi robe and the completely unfazed look. Definitely. I also like his staff with that giant keg of brew. Even in Legion, when we got the do you remember the artifact weapons that were unlocked in the Mage Tower? There was that honey or beehive looking monk artifact Mage Tower appearance weapon that I unlocked, and that's the closest I ever got to what Chen Stormstout had in his as his weapon. You know, the giant brew keg or barrel. We don't have that as monks. We don't have that. Like the demon hunters have warglaives of Asenath. Monks do not have a giant ass staff with a barrel of brew. We don't have that yet. We just have some tiny ass looking sad looking thing on a staff. It's not fair. Okay, I'm gonna listen in on what he was saying about the legendary rune crafting, because at first I was hoping that it would be a completely separate profession, but it seems like it's something that all professions have, whether you're leatherworking or blacksmithing. Let's find out.
Shadowlands comes out, the best one possible. Later on in beta, we'll also be revealing for focus testing our first Shadowlands seasonal affix, as well as some potential other tweaks to the system.
Yeah.
Legendary rune crafting is something we're...
I only have unlocked 2 Mage Tower appearances, and this is completely my fault. I waited to the very last minute, and then I was just freaking tearing myself apart every fucking night. Last minute, it was the last week, just trying to get through the Mage Tower. I was only able to unlock the top 2 that I wanted, which were the Protection Paladin one, which was the flail and the shield that looks like it's got a revolving disc on it. One of my guildies, she saw it. She's a newer player, brand new to the game, and she's like, wow, your shield is pretty nice. It looks like a compass. I didn't even think about it like that. This is what I appreciate about brand new players to the game. They just have that innocence to them that we all had when we first started the game. I never would have thought or looked at that piece of armor as a compass, like as a beautiful compass, and I actually felt that was a compliment. She said it looked like a compass. So I only have 2 Mage Tower appearances from Legion. It was for Protection Paladin, which I would argue was the toughest one ever compared to every other fucking class in spec. And then the second one I have is Brewmaster Monk, of course. I'm a tank at heart. I love healing, but I'm a tank at heart.
Really excited to let people get their hands on. This is something we talked about way back at BlizzCon, and this is the expression of legendary items in Shadowlands. So for those of you who remember Legion, and really throughout the history of World of Warcraft, some of the coolest loot we've ever made has had that orange color, orange border. When you see a legendary item, it's usually something that's going to transform your gameplay and unlock an all-new level of power within you. And one of the big points of feedback that we got that was frustrating in Legion was centered around how these items were obtained, and the lack of control over obtaining
until now that
an item that was tremendously powerful. You'd see videos featuring it, you were really excited to get it, but there was nothing you could do to earn it, you felt, unless you got lucky. Shadowlands is really aiming from the outset to address those concerns and to give you a ton of agency and control over how you seek out and earn your legendaries. So early on, as you venture into Torghast, Tower of the Damned, you're going to encounter this mysterious runesmith who's chained up, shackled in a Hannibal Lecter-style cell in the bowels of Torghast. And what you'll learn pretty early on is that this runesmith wields some of the same power, that power of domination that was once used to craft incredible artifacts like Frostmourne or the now shattered helm of the Lich King. And by recovering essence from Torghast, as well as scraps of this ancient runic knowledge that you can bring back to the smith and awaken locked away memories, the runesmith will be able to make for you, to imbue an item with power that you get from a tailor, blacksmith, leatherworker, depending.
Pause. So we're not crafting it, we're just gathering mats for this legendary runesmith that we bump into in Torghast, or the Maw, or whatever. Or Torghast, he said. So we're not crafting it, we're just acquiring the materials for it and having this other figure craft for us. That's what it seems he's trying to say.
Depending on your armor type, the runesmith can make a legendary of your choice for you. That way you can look at those amazing bracers or gloves or boots or whatever.
Bracers. Legendary bracers? No way. No way. That does not sound inspiring at all. Legendary bracers? I think, did they even have legendary bracers in Legion? I know Pally's had legendary boots, but bracers?
Whatever you're seeking, and work towards it, earn it, and then...
I would go for a legendary ring. Bracers, though, no way.
And begin your next project. A lot of these legendary powers are throwbacks to some fan favorites from across really the past dozen years. Everything from Legion legendaries to old set bonuses to powers that are brand new.
I miss set bonuses, and they said they would be bringing back the set bonuses, but they're just too lazy. Blizzard loves the system now where you have only male armor sets, only plate armor sets that are shared across warriors, paladins, death knights, male armor sets shared across hunters, shamans, nothing else, because they won't give us a fucking third class that wears male. Cloth raid tier sets shared across warlocks, priests, mages. Come on now, a priest and a warlock sharing the same raid tier set? How? I don't like the priests having the dark looking sets at all. I don't like that. I mean, of course, like Shadow Priests would probably appreciate it, but I want them to go back to a time where you had your own class raid tier sets. That really played into class fantasy. I miss that.
Torghast powers that you'll be able to, use temporarily within Torghast, but sometimes permanently imbue a legendary item with. Because part of the idea is...
I would love to see an updated model for Thunder Fury. That's the big, yeah, because that does look fucking ugly, I'll admit. Everyone's fucking name-dropping Thunder Fury in trade chat, and I'm like, it's just so it's so ugly. It's got that lightning ball in the middle of a dull-looking blade. It's not even sharp-looking, it's just fucking long. That's all it is. That's all it's got to it, is its length, and then a lightning ball in the middle. The legendary bracers in Legion were called Magtheridon's Banished Bracers. Why do I not remember having legendary bracers in Legion? Maybe it was like male. I didn't really play anything male, like any male classes in Legion, but Magtheridon, that sounds like the demon from Burning Crusade. He was that raid boss, Magtheridon's lair. That sounds like leather bracers, maybe. Or male. I could be wrong. I've never heard of that.
Really, this ancient runic art is the source of many of those powers, items from the Shadowlands that have found their way out into the world over the years. And finally, they can be yours. Covenant campaigns. So I didn't touch on this when we were talking about covenants earlier, but each covenant, once you join them, has a max level narrative quest arc associated with it. This is similar to the war campaign that we had in Battle for Azeroth, where there was an alliance campaign.
Pause. By any chance, do you play on the Horde side of Moonguard? And yes, it is. Okay, so it was leather, or was it male? Probably leather? I don't. I'm primarily an alliance player. I love the Horde, don't get me wrong, but I just love the alliance slightly more. And I've been Horde for a while, but I've been alliance a lot longer than I have been Horde. And Moonguard, I know all about Moonguard. I've been there, and I would take guildies on field trips to Moonguard. Guildies who have never heard of what goes on in Moonguard. I would take them to freaking the Goldshire Lion's Pride Inn, or whatever it was called, and they have never, ever been dissatisfied with what I've shown them that was going on over there. The bracers were cloth. Oh my god, okay. So they were cloth. Magtheridon's Banished Bracers. I guess it's playing along with the Warlocks. No, I don't play Horde side of Moonguard. I don't even think I own any. Yeah, I'm positive I don't own any characters on Moonguard, because every character I've made there was just to show guildies what goes on in the Lion's Pride Inn in Goldshire, and then I immediately delete the character. But to be fair, that was back in the day when they had restrictions of 10 characters per server, whereas now Blizzard have played their cards really well in appeasing us, the community, and letting us have any amount of characters as long as it does not exceed 50 characters per account, I believe.
Campaign and a Horde campaign. This time around, there are 4 distinct campaigns of roughly that size and scope, depending on your covenant. And through playing through this, you will earn cosmetic rewards for your covenant, unlock an additional soulbind, and really experience the full extent of your covenant's perspective on the world and the events of the Shadowlands. Also, before too long in beta, we want to kick off some focused PvP testing. We want to set up an environment where we can unlock all of these systems. We're not trying to test the progression and the rate at which you earn them here, but we want to just let you have access to soulbinds, conduits, legendaries, all the rest, and get early and rapid iteration on arena, battlegrounds, just general PvP combat testing at max level, so that we can make sure that we're both reining in any outliers, but also just dialing in the overall pacing of combat. No one likes those matches that go into super high dampening. The other end of the spectrum, no one wants matches that are over in 20 seconds in some crazy burst or proc window. So the earlier we can get that in front of you,
last time I did them seriously,
the earlier sooner we can start really dialing into what it needs to be.
Shadow Priest and a Holy Pally.
As part of that also, it's kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, we do want to test the pacing of progression and rewards and the rate at which things are earned. And to make that as organic as possible, we'll be probably wiping the existing characters that people have had in the alpha environment probably by the end of this month, and enabling character copies, which will set up end-to-end testing as you can come in with your characters from Battle for Azeroth, level up through Shadowlands, replace your gear organically, earn the rewards you're going to earn, and start giving us feedback on how all of that feels. So I think one of the things we've learned over the years in making these expansions is there's a whole lot that goes into them. There's a ton of moving parts, there's a ton of systems.
Do you raid at all?
We can make our best guesses as to how players are going to interact with them, but there's no real substitute for having the whole thing stood up end to end, having people go through it. And rather than having those regrets that we sometimes have a month or two into an expansion where we realize that we missed the mark on some aspect of that progression, we want to really do as much of it as possible during beta so that when the game comes out for real, it's everything that it needs to be. And that's really the theme of the month ahead. We have some work to do to finish fleshing out the structures that we just described. Most of the rest is going to be polish, responding to feedback, iteration, and finally, tuning. We're going to talk a little bit about tuning because I know it's a hot topic. Balance is always, the most controversial, one of the most central topics in community discussion, and has been forever in WoW. Tuning is the last thing that we do. In the early parts of alpha and beta, we're basically just looking for extreme outliers where things might be so far out of whack they disrupt the feedback that we get. If something is so overpowered that it trivializes content, well, we have to fix that. Otherwise, all of our feedback on, let's say, Torghast is going to be tainted because someone's walking through one-shotting things. Or if something is so weak that it doesn't matter if it's theoretically fun, it feels terrible to use, or no one wants to use it, we don't get feedback on it, we need to fix that. But beyond that, we really want to focus first on shoring up the conceptual foundations of what we're building. We want to make sure that the abilities, the systems, and everything else feel fun, that they sound exciting as ideas.
Voice too. It's like
and
always
then
reassuring.
Once we've gotten to a place where we're confident in those foundations,
agreeing with what
the natural next step is to dial them into a level tune.
Reassuring voice.
And so if you're looking at the way things are in alpha now and saying to yourself that, I don't know, hypothetically speaking, the best choices are 40% better than what you might pick if you were just trying to, go after what looks fun, that's because there's a key part of the process here that just hasn't happened yet. Now, I don't want to say, just wait until after beta, it's only beta. We sometimes get that wrong too, but there's a deliberate process that we approach for a reason. Because we want to make sure that we're using the majority of our bandwidth to fix bad ideas rather than potentially trying to polish something that ultimately is fundamentally flawed. So for example, we've heard a lot of feedback recently on the Ardenwield's Paladin ability, Covenant ability, Blessing of Seasons.
Oh my god, Blessing of Seasons.
And tried a couple different versions of that.
Okay, pause.
Ultimately,
the Paladin Covenant ability, Blessing of Seasons, to me at least, as my main being a prot / Holy Paladin, sounds a lot like the Holy Priest playstyle where they had the I don't know if you remember, they had the playstyle of the chakras or whatever however they're pronounced, the chakra system. And I loved that system. The Holy Priest chakra playstyle in Cataclysm was where you had a chakra playstyle for AoE healing, and you had a chakra playstyle of single target healing. And you would swap between the two chakras to suit whatever content you were running. God, I missed that. I don't know why it was not a success. I absolutely loved the chakra playstyle, but they've removed it. They removed it from the Holy Priests. I really loved it. I don't know why. Maybe the community didn't like it. I don't know. I didn't main a Holy Priest, but I certainly played one as an alt heavily. I even leveled as a Holy Priest in fact, I've only ever leveled as a Holy Priest ever since Burning Crusade, just because I loved that playstyle. And the Chakra playstyle was super fun. So the Paladin Blessing of Seasons Covenant ability sounds very, at least to me, it appeared very similar to the chakra playstyle for Holy Priests back in Legion. So I'm gonna go back to the Wowhead website. I'm gonna pull that up. Let me get my lo-fi playlist on. Let's play something else. She looks cute. Okay, we would go to, oh crap, what did I click on? Shadowlands, Covenants. The chakra thing would be cool for monks to have. You know what? That makes so much sense. Like a mantra, right? It goes, it's just wordplay. For me, I'm an English major, so I'm a sucker for that shit. Like mantra, chakra, it's the same damn thing. It's the same freaking class fantasy for monks, so you are right about that. I am gonna pull up the Covenant ability for Pallies. I think I want, okay, was it for the Kyrian? Covenant special abilities? I want to say that was Kyrians that had it. Let me check. How do I look for the class? I remember reading, okay, all mage covenant abilities. Where's Pally? Okay, maybe it's under, let's go back to the top. Maybe it's not under Covenant abilities. Covenant special abilities, maybe that? Let's try that. No, that's for everyone. I want to go, it's got to be a class ability. Because only Pally's had it. Let's go back to Wellhead. Shadowlands classes. I'm out of wine. I'm sad. Paladin class changes? It wouldn't be under changes though. Here, Paladin... Highlights, baseline ability check. No, where is it? I'm trying to look for that. Okay, well, let's just look. Blessing of Seasons. There we go. Dispel. Okay. So. Comments. Okay, Blessing of Seasons buff list. So the Blessing of Spring, bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, increasing their healing done and healing received by 10%. That sounds amazing. Blessing of Summer, bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, causing their attacks to have a high chance to deal 15% of spell power, holy damage. And Blessing of Autumn, bless your nearby party members for 1 minute, causing their cooldowns to recover 15% faster. That's always nice. And finally, Blessing of Winter. Your party members' attacks deal 1% of spell power, frost damage, and reduce enemies' movement speed, blah blah blah. Okay, that's PvP. I don't care about that. I like the healing done, healing received by 10% buff. I don't care about the 15% spell power, holy damage bonus. I like this one. Cooldowns recover 15% faster, because in the long run, it sounds amazing. We're gonna look up the chakra. Oh, they don't show it anymore. The Holy Priest chakra ability. Wait. Holy Word Sanctified. Are they gonna show the old abilities? Let me see. No, this is the current Holy Word Sanctified. I don't know how to find it. Okay, back to the dev update. It's nearly finished. Whoops. Here.
We're at this point going to go back to the drawing board and fundamentally redesign the way that ability works, because it has some fundamental flaws that make it very challenging to balance, but also not even necessarily as fun as we'd hoped it would be. And so having put a lot of effort into tuning that would have potentially masked an underlying problem, or at best just been a distraction from the more important work that we could have been doing in the meantime. And so as the sort of original creative work of Shadowlands comes to a close, as we move out of that phase, the phase that lies ahead of us is going to have lots and lots of tuning and polish that will continue all the way up to the launch of the expansion later this year. So I just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And I also
for
want to
being
thank
with
you
me in
all
my
for your
stream.
patience. We'd originally planned on doing this stream a month ago, and back then we would have had somewhat different material. But we postponed it then to avoid distracting from a more important conversation.
Good, good.
But of course, that conversation is still happening. Injustice doesn't cease just because we look away.
Oh my god!
Black Lives Mattered a month ago.
Oh my god, I didn't know he would go so far as to bring this up. Holy crap. He's actually specifically calling out BLM or bringing awareness to Black Lives Matter. Whoa, I did not expect this. Holy crap, I'm gonna rewind. I like that.
Okay. And I also want to thank you all for your patience. We'd originally planned on doing this stream a month ago.
Nice segue.
Back then we would have had somewhat different material. But we postponed it then to avoid distracting from a more important conversation.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I mean, I already knew that was their intention. That is why they, they had so much hype and then they called it off because they didn't want to distract. And he's still pointing out that it's still an issue right now. Wow.
But of course, that conversation is still happening. Injustice doesn't cease just because we look away. Black Lives Mattered a month ago. Black Lives Matter today.
Ooh.
And if that phrase is difficult to hear, know that I and others who speak those words aren't saying that your life has any less worth. We're only calling attention to the ways in which our societies seem to need a reminder that Black Lives Matter.
Oh my god, I love... His voice is super shaky right now. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but his voice is trembling there.
Now, as John said earlier, these are extraordinarily difficult times. We all have our own struggles, and we can often help by simply listening with open hearts. So be kind to one another, stay safe, and we'll see you in Azeroth and in the Shadowlands beyond. Thank you.
Loktarogar, as the Horde would say. Wow, I did not expect that last bit. Holy crap, that woke me up, to be honest. Wow. Someone said Gnome's life matters. That's funny. Shadowlands looks bare bones at launch. Okay, so what I'm happy about going into Shadowlands, level squish down to 60. I really like that. I like that they're trying to bring back class fantasy, although it's not as much as I was hoping for. I mean, because what they're doing is they're bringing back a whole bunch of abilities that they had pruned before. They had like at least the bare minimum 2 major phases of pruning, and they said, oh, Mark of the Wild, which I really loved as a druid, Mark of the Wild buff is just pointless because it's something that only takes a second to press and you don't even think about it, so we had to prune it. I mean, I loved it. Like, why would you give other classes, like a mage, why would you give a mage arcane intellect, a priest holy power, or what is it, the stamina buff, power word fortitude, and not give a druid Mark of the Wild? So I'm upset about that, and I don't even main a druid. So I'm glad that they're trying to bring back class fantasy, but at the same time I feel like, what's the point of the pruning if you're bringing back a lot of those abilities? I am looking forward to a variety, a change in the lore, because all this time we've been dealing with the Horde having a splinter in their power. Like, they've all been having a power struggle, or if not, they've been having leaders who were always shady, not always serving their own people, serving their own faction. They were always doing they're playing by their own motives. At least that's what I perceived from the lore that's been presented to us ever since Mists of Pandaria. It's always been, Horde, when are you going to get your act together? And now, here at the tail end of BFA, Battle for Azeroth, you see a splinter in the Alliance. The Alliance aren't always united, and I appreciate that. I like that. You see how Tyrande is going against Anduin. So I'm looking forward to that. There's more options there in the lore. What else am I looking forward to? To be honest, I don't even know what class I'm going to main. I've always mained my Pally. I'm looking forward to Torghast not being gated behind currency. I already mentioned that. I'm looking forward to, at least for now, it doesn't seem that they're bringing in any more elements of alternate timelines or alternate universe, as they did back in Warlords of Draenor. And even a little bit of Legion, I think it was, when they introduced us to the allied race of the Mag'har Orcs, or was that now BFA? I think it was now BFA. But, I mean, alternate universe, I mean, it's nice. It's a sci-fi element. It's a nice sci-fi edition. But, at least for me, it just seems a little off in the Warcraft universe. I'm glad that I finally watched this dev update, so I have more to talk about to my guildies about come this weekend, when I spend the majority of my weekend time is with them, so I have something to debate with them, or just talk about future plans for our guild. At any rate, thank you for chiming into my stream. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy doing this. To be honest, I'm not doing this for anyone, for you guys. I'm doing it for myself. It's my way of sharing my own perspectives of the game that I really love, and the bonus that I get out of it is meeting people who can either agree or bring in their own perspective, and it's a means for me to delve into other aspirations out there about this game, other perspectives, aspirations. Thank you for being here with me. I had a really, not a bad day. I didn't have a terrible day of work today, but it was very draining. So this was really nice for me to catch up with the latest news of the game that I absolutely adore. Thank you so much for being here with me, and I'm gonna call it a night. It's a work night for me. I'm up rather late, and I will likely be streaming my gameplay of World of Warcraft this weekend, whether that be Raid or Mythics, what have you. I do hope to have you guys again. Thank you so much for chiming in. This is Tides, signing off.